Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to take a look at another Dinostoreus model. It's not too often that we get to take a look at these very cool Dinostoreus models, so anytime I can get a new one to look at with you guys, I am super psyched. And this is one that I've wanted to get a hold of for a very long time because it's kind of the last of their, sort of diorama type models that they have that I personally didn't own and really wanted to get a hold of. These are the hatchling Tyrannosaurus, and it's really cool to have kind of a scene of two baby Tyrannosaurus, one still in the process of hatching, the other one clearly hatched and potentially a troublemaker as he looks like he's sort of playing with the other one or trying to pick a fight with him. I don't know exactly what the idea is going on here behind it other than two baby Tyrannosaurs looking adorable, just kind of chilling in the nest and sort of acting up a little bit, but it looks really, really nice in person. I was really looking forward to getting a hold of this model because it's something, again, that you don't see too often in model form is a nest full of baby tyrannosaurs, and although there's only two, but regardless, it looks great here in person, definitely exceeding my expectations so far. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at both of these adorable little tyrannosaurs right now. So our Tyrannosaurs are actually removable from the base, so we can take them off, take a look at them a little easier that way, which is really nice as well. So looking at the head sculpt of this little baby right here, you can see that he has a little bit of an angry appearance to him, already starting out with a little bit of a bad attitude is this baby Tyrannosaurus. You can see the mouth is sculpted pretty nicely as far as the tongue and everything sticking up inside the mouth there. The teeth are all painted pretty nicely right there as well. You can see a nice pinkish coloration there for the inside of the mouth of this baby Tyrannosaur. The eyes are painted with a yellow, giving a nice very large black pupil, even more so making him look quite baby-like. There's some pretty nice texturing here to the face of the Rex. You do have the nostrils sculpted out right there. The detail around the eye socket as well is really nicely done, and you can see the ear back here. Also, some nice texturing in general to the head sculpt as far as like the skin texture and everything goes. Beautiful color variation here on the head of the Rex as well, as you have like some lighter and darker tones of color throughout. Moving down here in the neck, you could see again some really nice skin texture showing up here. Beautiful creasing and everything going on in the skin. It almost has like a yellowish tone for the primary body color, and it looks really, really interesting, like a mixture of like yellow and greens, it seems, throughout the body, but there's also like some blacks and stuff that show up. Some really nice color variation throughout the figure. You can make out the shoulder blade a little bit right there. The arm sculpt is fairly nicely done, probably a bit larger than we would expect to see, but it does contain some pretty decent detail. You can see the elbow right there. The nails are painted nicely with a very dark gray, it seems. Coming back into the stomach region, you can see some more skin texture showing up here. You can also make out the rib cage a little bit right there. And there's also a nice black streak that runs down the spinal column of our baby Tyrannosaurus. You can see here, if we take a look at the opposing side here, as far as the side that's like laying down, you can see some nice browns and everything, lighter browns in the underside stomach region and then the thigh area as well. Some pretty nice musculature here displayed in the thigh and the calf region. You can see the kneecap right there. Beautiful little Rex foot right here. The legs are really scrawny, really thin, so I don't know if that's exactly how a baby Tyrannosaur would look coming out, but they're exceptionally thin. And you can see some nice scoots down the toes right here, some nice toenails as well, painted with a beautiful dark gray and actually glossed quite nicely. You can see even the underside of the feet. It's pretty nicely detailed in that aspect as well. And then you can come back up here into the tail. Lots of creasing going on in the tail. Nice curves again as the dinosaur is laying on its side, kind of portraying a playing position or maybe picking on his brother or sister, but the tail is up in a pretty nice looking fashion here, kind of showing off that playful attitude that the Rex is currently expressing. And then you can take a look over here at this side of the head. He really does look quite angry, so maybe he's just starting a fight with his brother or sister. I don't really know, but he definitely looks like he's a bit grumpy. And you can actually see a nice gloss coat on the eye on this side as well. I didn't really take note to that on the previous side. This tail keeps getting in the way. It's kind of hard to get a good shot of this side. Most of the body on this side is kind of scrunched up, so you can't really see it all that well, but what we can see over here does look quite nice as far as the detailing and paint aspect. Again, some nice color variation throughout the figure. You have lots of different tones of like yellows, greens, browns, dark blacks, all kinds of color variation. Nice striping down the tail there as well. Again, lots of creasing in the tail. You can see some of the skin stretching off of the tail there as this leg is pulling forward, stretching that skin. You have the foot sculpt again in a really nice kind of a playful-like position, or maybe in a position to start a fight. He looks kind of grumpy here for sure. The eyes you could see are not facing forward. They're kind of painted out on the side, so they don't look all that great from a forward-facing view, but still pretty cool looking little baby Rex. And then if we take a look at the other Rex, we've got one here in kind of an egg kind of hatching right here. We also have the tag that's still on it. I should have taken that off, but we'll get it off right now since we are here at this point in time. There we go. And now this one, you can see again hatching out of the egg currently. He only has his head exposed right here, so he's just kind of a little confused, I think, as to why his brother and or sister is kicking him in the face, but you can see the head sculpt. It looks pretty good. This one has his mouth actually closed as opposed to the other one that had his mouth open. The teeth as well look quite nice as far as the painting and sculpting aspect, and you can still see that pinkish coloration inside the mouth there, kind of showing off the gums potentially and just the inside of the mouth, even though the mouth is closed. Really nice color variation on this one again, very similarly painted to the previous one, which makes sense considering they're from the same batch, but definitely a really nice sculpt, really nice paintwork. The egg as well looks really cool, beautifully textured as far as the sculpt goes. You can see the nice cracks as the dinosaur is hatching, so that aspect looks really cool as well. And there's some really nice paintwork on the egg. You can see just a lot of paint variation included, nice kind of like a spotting to the egg, beautiful browns, but then there's also like some light dry brushings of like a bluish green in certain areas as well. So lots of really nice color variation, absolutely gorgeous sculpt and detail on the egg from every angle. And then we have the rest of the base, which you can see now with the egg exposed, has like a really cool appearance of like a Rex nest that is abandoned, and you can see kind of like areas where the baby was sitting and then some eggshells and stuff. There's also another egg here that hasn't hatched quite yet. You can see it somewhat exposed from the earthy area. You've got some vegetation that is down here, like some leaves and stuff here and there. So really nice realism, I think, displayed throughout the base of this. And it just generally has like a very cool kind of like a sandy type of an appearance to it, to the way that the earthy areas are painted and sculpted. It really, really looks quite legit, very realistic. The egg, again, is painted beautifully, just like the previous egg was. I also love that even when the baby and the egg are removed, it still generally has like that realistic, lifelike kind of an earthy area, like a nice dark tone, so you can see that it was sitting in there. So even with the models removed from the nest, it still looks pretty legit and pretty realistic overall. So a really beautiful base. The underside also sports the Dinostoreus logo, and again, those kind of little soft circles to keep your base in place and not damage anything that it's on. But I really, really love the base and the dinosaurs. The total package is awesome. And just like I had stated, the dinosaurs, again, removed from the base. To get them back into the spot on the base, you just have to find the spot that this little guy sits, which I'm currently having a bit of a hard time doing. There we go. I don't know why that was so complicated for me. And then we bring the other egg in here, and we just put that back in. And now we've got the scene complete again with the baby Tyrannosaurus kind of playing and just roughhousing a little bit in the nest. And I'm going to knock him out because I'm rubbing him on the back of the backdrop there. But really, really cool scene taking place before us with this baby Rex shoving his foot into the face of his brother or sister. But really cool looking scene here created by Dinostoreus. As far as a size goes for the model as a whole, you are looking at, I would say, roughly in the like 6 3/4 inch range, or about 17, maybe 17.5 centimeters. And then for a height, the highest point is definitely the tail of that baby back there. You're looking at about I'd say about 4 1/4 inches, or around 11 centimeters. And then to the top of the head of this little baby Rex here, about 2 3/4 inches, or 7 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, next to our Dinostoreus Tyrannosaurus hatchlings. And you can see next to these three figures here that the baby hatchlings here definitely have a pretty good size to them overall. It's not super small, it's not super huge either, so it's not something that's going to take up an insanely large amount of room, but at the same time, it's not super tiny in that aspect, but I think it's a really nice size overall. So these Tyrannosaurus hatchlings from Dinostoreus are both extremely cool. The only slight downside to the figures, in my opinion, is the fact that they don't really have like that lifelike look as far as the overall appearance of their skin and bodies. They look like they're made of resin, which they are, but I mean, most models don't really look like that. These ones, I think, do have a very resin-like look to them, so the realism in that aspect isn't really through the roof, so there's a slight downside in that aspect of the figures. But once you move past that point, I think that everything honestly looks beautiful on these figures as far as the sculpt and detail, the very fine detail. Looks really nice texturing throughout the bodies of both. You have some beautiful skin wrinkles, skin folds, and everything going on with the baby that is officially fully hatched. And then the hatching baby has really nice detail in the face that we can't see, the head that we can't see, but also in the egg. The eggs look great, both the egg that the baby is currently hatching from and the egg that still hasn't hatched and is somewhat submerged still in the dirt. Both of those eggs look really beautiful, very nice and very realistic in person. The base as well is fantastic as far as the sculpt and detail goes. Very realistic looking appearance to the base, just like the dinosaurs. The paintwork is pretty nice. Again, the Tyrannosaurs themselves don't really have too much going on as far as like a theme to their coloration. It's just kind of like color here and there, and I think it's a nice realistic look for the figures overall as far as the paint application goes, and it's nicely applied for the most part. Everything seems to be pretty carefully applied and quite realistically applied. Nothing really looks so much like paint on the figures as opposed to body color, except maybe the mouths kind of have that paint-like look. But aside from that, I feel like it looks pretty lifelike in the paint department. The base really has some beautiful lifelike paintwork to it, really nice tones of color used, and they definitely did a great job as far as the base goes. But as a whole, I definitely love this set. It's another extremely awesome Dinostoreus release now entering my collection, and I could not be happier to finally have the hatching Tyrannosaurs here kind of playing in my collection and looking incredible. So if you would like to pick this up, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that on the Dinostoreus website. So make sure you check that website, go buy yourself this really cool Dinostoreus model, and make sure you also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.